Hello one and all, this is Soulful Lordy, James Bullock, once again with another video game first impressions. This time around, World War Z for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC. World War Z is a third-person cooperative shooter, survival, action-adventure, multiplayer fracas that sees the player being either able to take part in one of the 4 chapters that have 2 to 3 sub-chapters that are scattered across the world. You have New York, you have Moscow, you have Tokyo. Unlike the Left 4 Dead games, there's an obvious big difference. Beyond this being a third-person perspective game instead of a first-person view like it was in the Left 4 Dead games, the big difference is the fact that this game features not only different characters depending on what stage you're playing on, but also a leveling system. In the Left 4 Dead games, you entered pretty much as you were. Whatever character you picked, that was how that character reacted and acted, and the majority of the characters played all the same anyway. It didn't matter who you played with, be it Rochelle or Coach in Left 4 Dead 2 or Zoe and Bill in Left 4 Dead 1. This game features a leveling system per class. You can be a gunslinger, or an explosives technician, or a medic. And depending on how well you do with that class, you will level up and eventually get new perks and new abilities through points that are dished out as you play the game. And you can buy extra abilities to help your character reload faster, or make it easier for them to regain health, or even produce more firepower or special weapons that will have more damaging effects. It's a very unique and interesting twist on really what is a very simple genre, especially when you compare it to Left 4 Dead, which stuck with the idea of the only thing that really changed in Left 4 Dead was the weapons, depending on where you were, what part of the stage that you were in, and just how the game felt like dishing out weapons. Depending on what weapons you use during a game of World War Z, the leveling system is also connected to that. So the more you use a pistol, you might open up another more high-powered pistol or a better assault rifle. And as I said, it's one of those things that really makes, beyond the gameplay, a reason for the player to keep coming back for more, because you're grinding, you're having fun, you're seeing actual growth with not only your skills but also with your equipment. The areas that you are able to take part in themselves, especially when it comes to the solo campaign or co-op campaign, depending on how you play the game, you can play with AI teammates, though they will not be as responsive or, most importantly, interactive with certain objectives than actual human players would be. During the missions, during the campaign, there will be many moments where you have to flip a switch or turn a valve. An AI teammate will be pretty much unable to help you, whereas human teammates will go out of their way to try to help. From a gameplay perspective, the game feels a lot like Left 4 Dead, both 1 and 2, but with some added features such as some barricade management, some defense measures when you have that moment where you have to take on a whole horde of zombies that just come out of nowhere. The zombies themselves work incredibly fast, they move incredibly well, they actually work together as seen just like in the movie with the pyramid of zombies that will climb a wall when it has that opportunity to do so. If there's one issue when it comes to the gameplay, to me, it is this lacking feel when it comes to the heaviness of weapons, especially the melee weapons. In Left 4 Dead or the Left 4 Dead games, when you slashed into something, when you slashed up an enemy, when you slashed up a zombie, it felt heavy, it felt grisly. Whereas with World War Z, it feels almost too light. It feels like you're trying to slice someone with a piece of paper. And add that to the fact that there's this almost magnetic effect as you hit the melee button and the character will kind of zip around and hit whatever nearby enemy there is, making it a little bit easier for the player, but it takes away some of that tension, trying to manage your swings and trying to hit what you're supposed to hit. Gunplay is very solid. Explosions, very similar to melee attacks, feel kind of dull. They sound good, but they don't really have that look or even feel of a grandiose explosion. is actually more realistic looking than it would be connected to something as absurd as a video game. Beyond the campaign, there's actually a multiplayer aspect that sees a more team deathmatch oriented offering. As you're continuously playing through these various death matches, be it a King of the Hill, a pseudo capture the flag, capture the territories type of modes, pretty much anything you've seen in the various Call of Duties and any game that features a multiplayer aspect like this, is the fact that hordes will suddenly envelop whatever area the players are playing in, and you will die because of zombie hordes. It's pretty much a given, and it could turn the tide for or against the team if people are not careful. I think it's a nice little implementation and kind of makes up for the lack of being able to play as one of the major infected or major zombies that are obviously very much influenced by the major enemies from Left 4 Dead. You have this charger-like creature that wears a complete body armor. You have a hunter-like creature that is called a creeper. You'll have an enemy that is in a radiation suit that is very much like a spitter, in the sense of if you kill it, it will send out toxins that could blind and definitely hurt your health. One interesting aspect when it comes to multiplayer as well is the fact that the leveling system is actually completely separate from the single player leveling system, the campaign leveling system. There are two totally different leveling systems, and even certain classes are different depending on if you're playing the campaign or multiplayer as well. Technically, I was very surprised considering this isn't some major studio game. This isn't a game that you would expect to be as technically sound, free of frame rate drops and disconnection issues, though I've had a few. I've had some moments that have been a little discouraging, such as a disconnection here or there. I had one moment during a campaign where for some reason I could not interact with one of the buttons that was a necessity to continue the story. But beyond those very inconsistent and slight moments of gaming failure, the game has been mostly flawless. Overall, I am pleasantly surprised about World War Z. It may not capture the hearts and minds and imagination that the Left 4 Dead games did, but it's definitely a worthy spiritual successor that delivers something very unique when it comes to the genre that has really been neglected a majority of this generation. If you've enjoyed the old school Left 4 Dead games, you can deal with a third person view more so than a first person, I definitely say pick it up, especially considering the price. Depending on what you're getting it for, it could be anywhere between $30 and $40. And to me, that's a steal when it comes to the quality, the surprising quality of this game. So there you have it. This has been Soulful Lordy, James Bullock, once again with another video game first impressions. World War Z for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to maybe go and get shot a lot because I suck at multiplayer games like this. But maybe I can find a team. I can find that right team that will help me secure victory and take as many backpacks and packages to my camp as I can. And once they see how well I've helped the team, they will have no choice but to shout, "Oh, Lordy!"